Hi, this is Rob Heppel from funeralfuturist.com, and today I'm with Joe. Joe, welcome to Funeral Gurus.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Could you please just introduce yourself to the viewers?
My name is Joe Sehee, and I'm founder and executive director of the Green Burial Council. We're an independent nonprofit organization trying to bring about burial that is sustainable for the planet, meaningful for the family, and economically viable for the provider.
Now, Joe, just a little bit of background. When people within the industry started hearing about green burials, they thought, "Oh no!" And then the Green Burial Council, and I was really enlightened today. We're here in San Diego at the ICCFA annual convention, and you were part of the Going Green Symposium, and actually yourself and the council are really reaching out to the funeral industry to educate them and to let them know what you're doing to help us embrace this next trend, and that it's going to be just another service option. So maybe if you could provide a little bit of background about the council,
Sure.
And then move into how you're working with funeral homes now.
And we're reaching out to the industry as much as it's reaching out to us, because I think a lot of consumers are really calling the profession in funeral homes and cemeteries requiring information. Well, the council was really started about 3 years ago after an experience getting involved with this concept early on showed to me that this concept needed transparency and accountability and a new ethic in death care. And if we were going to engage people who had largely stayed away from the funeral industry through direct cremation, we needed to show that we embraced a different ethic. And so we brought together some of the leading thinkers from fields of consumer affairs and conservation management, sustainable landscape design, and set forth the first set of standards that could demonstrate that burial grounds could be used in some instances to facilitate landscape level conservation, and could also provide new, meaningful, more simple and affordable options for consumers. We're now doing that with funeral homes. We're, by the end of the year, also going to be doing it with cremation facilities and burial products.
Okay. Now, what could, if for funeral homes that are thinking, okay, this is happening, what should they do to slowly start to embrace what's happening? And what would their first 3 steps be?
Well, I'm a little close to this. One of my first steps would be to get in touch with the council and to look at becoming a member. We have a number of consumers who are interested in finding providers, and they want to make sure these providers are going to give them good information and that they're trained to handle a service without embalming, and they understand the laws of the state or the province. I think providers also need to know that there are resources out there, and there's many shades of green. We're trying very hard not to diminish any end of life ritual, and to allow the profession to know that we want to work with them, and that we aren't the enemy. And in fact, I've been invited to speak at, I think, about 15 or 20 national funeral conventions and state cemetery associations and funeral associations like this one. So I think, there's a real sense that this is an opportunity for collaboration and to have the goodwill that's necessary to reach out to this emerging market. I think they see the benefit of working with an entity like ours as opposed to just trying to do it on their own.
Now, and maybe you could just give, as an example, you've working closely with Tim Rivera in New Mexico there, and just as an example how Green Burial Council and Tim's funeral home and what they're doing.
Sure. Well, our model really calls for handing off opportunities, and we actually spun off to providers. We spun off a consultancy group that could specialize in bringing together land trusts and open space districts and park service agencies together with funeral providers and cemetery operators and cremation companies. And we've had tremendous success. We're working with about a dozen projects nationally, not any in Canada yet, but hopefully that'll change, where people get what they want. The land steward gets to work on the restoration and acquisition and stewardship of a natural area, and the funeral home or cremation company or cemetery operator can focus on what they do best, which typically is not stewardship. we're creating opportunities where they don't have to spend money to acquire land, for example, on the cemetery side, and they can be concessionaires. And that's what we did with Tim. We basically brought an opportunity for him to work with an established conservation entity and have an additional option for families. He has an urban cemetery, couldn't offer real green up burial even if he wanted to, or at least a natural environment. And so we brought him into this opportunity, and we're working with a number of cemeteries and funeral homes on similar projects.
Okay. Well, Joe, that's great. I'm sure we could talk a lot longer, but I just really appreciate your time here and what you're doing to help educate us, and so that we're more aware, and that as service providers we can provide all the services to what our families want. So, Joe, you actually are the green funeral guru, and thank you for sharing. You're watching funeralgurus.com. Great. Excellent.